Section 1. The bond of friendship. We met years ago in the most ordinary way, and yet our connection felt anything but ordinary. From the very beginning, we became friends who could talk about anything without judgment. It didn't matter if it was something light and funny or something heavy and painful. We just knew how to listen to each other. He was the kind of friend who showed up when I needed someone the most. When I was going through rough days, he was there with a comforting word or a silly joke to make me smile. When I had good news, he celebrated with me as if my happiness was his own. Our bond was simple, pure, and built on trust. I never once thought of him as more than a friend. At least, that's what I told myself. We would spend hours talking about life, our dreams, our fears, and the people who had hurt us along the way. He understood me in a way that very few people ever did. Sometimes it felt like he could read my mind before I even spoke. And maybe that's what made him so important to me. He saw parts of me that even I had forgotten about. There were countless small moments that made our friendship special. Late-night phone calls where time slipped away and suddenly it was morning. Long drives with the windows down, music playing, and laughter filling the silence. Sitting together in complete comfort, not needing words, because silence between us was never awkward. He wasn't just my friend. He had become part of my everyday life, a constant I never imagined living without. People around us often joked about our closeness. Some would even ask if there was something more between us, but I would laugh it off. I was married, committed to my partner, and loyal. To me, he was just my best friend, someone I could trust with every secret. I never let myself imagine anything beyond that. Still, looking back now, I realize that somewhere along the way, the line between friendship and something deeper began to blur. It wasn't obvious at first. It was in the way we lingered a little longer when we hugged, or how our eyes held each other's just a moment too long. It was in the comfort of knowing that if the whole world turned against me, he would still be there, standing quietly by my side. At the time, I ignored those little signs. I told myself it was nothing, that real friendships could be this close without it meaning anything else. And maybe I wanted to believe that because the truth felt too complicated to face. If anyone had asked me then, I would have sworn with full confidence, "We are just friends. Nothing more." But deep down, a small, quiet voice whispered a different story, one I wasn't ready to hear. I never realized how fragile those lines were, how one night could change everything we thought we knew. Section 2. The night that changed everything. It all started like any other evening, with no sign that something unforgettable was about to happen. We hadn't planned anything special. I just needed someone to talk to, and as always, he was there. My partner had been distant for weeks, wrapped up in work and arguments that never seemed to end. I felt lonely in my own home, and so I turned to the one person who always listened without judgment, him. That night we met at his place. It was quiet, no noise from the outside world, just the two of us in a space that suddenly felt different. We ordered food, laughed about silly things, and for a moment it felt like old times. But underneath the laughter, I could feel something unspoken building between us, something neither of us wanted to name. We sat close, maybe a little too close, as the hours passed. The lights were dim, a soft song played in the background, and there was a calmness in the air that made everything feel more intimate. First, I didn't think much of it. We had been close before. But then his hand brushed against mine, just lightly, almost by accident. A simple touch, yet it sent a wave through me that I couldn't ignore. I should have pulled away. I should have reminded myself of the boundaries we had always respected. But I didn't. Instead, I froze, my heart racing in a way it never had around him before. When I looked up, our eyes met, and in that silence, everything shifted. He didn't say a word. Neither did I. It was as if the air itself was heavy with everything we were holding back. And then he reached out, gently tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. Such a small gesture, yet it broke down the last wall I had been holding up. The hug that followed was different from all the others we had shared before. It lingered, longer and warmer, until it no longer felt like friendship. Felt like something more, something dangerous. My mind screamed for me to stop, to remember who I was, who I belonged to. But my heart, lonely, aching, desperate for comfort, chose not to listen. Before I knew it, the line we had promised never to cross disappeared. What started as a moment of comfort became something far deeper, something that neither of us could take back. It wasn't planned. It wasn't even spoken about. Just happened. In that moment I felt both safe and shattered. Safe in his arms because he knew me better than anyone else ever could. Shattered because I knew exactly what I was doing. I was breaking the trust of someone who loved me at home. When it was over, silence filled the room. Not the comfortable silence we once shared, but a heavy, suffocating one. We avoided each other's eyes, both of us realizing the truth. Nothing would ever be the same again. That night everything changed. Section 3. The weight of guilt and consequences. The morning after felt heavier than any night before. I woke up with a knot in my stomach, the events of the previous evening replaying in my mind over and over again. What had I done? I kept asking myself the same question, but no matter how many times I tried to justify it, the truth was undeniable. I had crossed a line I swore I never would. When I saw him the next day, the air between us had changed. We still spoke, we still laughed, but there was a tension now, an invisible wall built from guilt and silence. Neither of us dared to mention what had happened. We pretended it was just another ordinary day, but deep down we both knew. We were carrying a secret too heavy to hide for long. Home, things became harder. Every smile I gave my partner felt forced. Every hug felt tainted with the memory of someone else's arms around me. I began to notice the way my partner looked at me, as if sensing something was wrong. I would turn away quickly, afraid that my eyes might give me away. Nights were the hardest. I would lie awake, torn apart by two truths. One, that what I shared with my friend felt real and comforting in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. And two, that it came at the cost of my loyalty, my promises, and my marriage. The guilt pressed on me like a weight I couldn't shake off. My friend wasn't coping any better. Sometimes he would reach out, sending me messages late at night, checking if I was okay. Other times, he would disappear for days, clearly battling with his own conscience. When we did talk, it was different now. Words carried double meanings, and silence spoke louder than anything. Became paranoid. Every time my phone buzzed, I feared my partner would see a message. Every time I came home late, I worried they would question where I had been. I started avoiding certain topics, steering conversations away from anything that might accidentally reveal the truth. It was exhausting, living two lives, smiling on the outside while drowning on the inside. And yet, despite the guilt, a part of me couldn't let go of what had happened. The memory lingered, tempting me, pulling me into a cycle of regret and longing. I hated myself for it, but I couldn't deny it either. That night had awakened something I couldn't control, and now I was paying the price. The walls around me felt like they were closing in. I knew it was only a matter of time before everything came crashing down. Secrets like ours never stayed hidden forever. I could feel it, something had to give, and when it did, it would break more than just hearts. Section 4. Confession, pain, and lessons learned. The secret didn't stay hidden for long. Deep down I knew it wouldn't. Lies have a way of unraveling, and guilt always leaves traces behind. My partner grew suspicious. Small things I overlooked, changes in my behavior I thought went unnoticed, all added up until the truth finally surfaced. One evening, I came home to a silence that was louder than words. My partner held my phone in their hands, the screen glowing with the evidence I had failed to erase. A few careless messages were all it took. The look in their eyes that night is something I will never forget. It wasn't just anger, it was heartbreak, betrayal, and disbelief all rolled into one. The confrontation that followed tore me apart. Every word cut deeper than the last. My partner's voice shook as they asked me why, as they demanded to know how I could betray their trust after everything we had shared. I wanted to explain, to make them understand the loneliness I had been feeling, the emptiness that led me to seek comfort elsewhere. But how could I? There are no excuses strong enough to justify breaking someone's heart. I confessed everything. The night, the feelings, the mistake. I didn't try to hide it anymore. The pain in my partner's eyes only grew with every word. Tears streamed down their face, and I realized I had done something I could never take back. Trust, once broken, can never return the same way. My friend and I drifted apart soon after. The bond we once shared became a wound we both carried. What was once comfort now became a constant reminder of what we had destroyed. He pulled away, unable to face me, and I let him go, knowing it was the only choice left. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. The house felt colder, the silence heavier. I watched the person I loved pull away from me, not because they wanted to, but because I had given them no other choice. Every smile was gone, every warm glance replaced by distance. I had broken something fragile and precious, all for a moment I thought I needed. Looking back now, I see that night for what it truly was. Not love, not destiny, but a mistake born out of weakness and loneliness. It didn't solve my problems. It only created new ones that hurt far more deeply. The biggest lesson I learned is that one night, one decision, can change the course of everything. Friendships can be ruined. Relationships can be shattered. And the guilt never really leaves. It lingers, a quiet reminder of what you lost because of a choice you can never undo. If I could turn back time, I would have chosen differently. But life doesn't give us second chances that easily. All it gives us are the lessons and the scars. That night changed everything. And it taught me that some lines, once crossed, can never be drawn back again.